All right, let's get into the Great Reset and the world going into a rest and the virtual world as far as the Pentagon games that's lining up and the Tron network and Elon Musk, Starlink, and all these little different things, okay? So the Oculus, the Apple Vision, the virtual glasses, that commercial they did down there to advertisees in New Orleans for that ram sacrifice event. All these things are being placed upon the earth, and then there's going to be a switch. And when the switch happens is when this VR or so-called RV world happens, and those who are in the new heaven and earth will have the VR in a way, and those who are stuck in the old are going to buy an RV and camper and go live in the woods and go through a tribulation time frame. And depending on what level you are in the so-called 10 worlds or the 10 horns or the 7 lights and such will depend on if you're out there for 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, 6 years, 8 years, 12 years, forever, or locked up for 40 years or whatever, right? So as we're going into a rest, the red planet spiritually has overtaken the earth as far as what we're shown in the projection with the election, the Christ session in the right hand, where you've gone and worshiped his name and number, MAGA 45, 47, the 9/11, the Abaddon, and you've gone into that ballot box and those things and the dividing of the bowels. So Divide of the Bowels Part 2 can be happening when California may be succeeding from the United States, and they grow 50% of the local food for the United States, so therefore that's a problem and a power position for the Queen of Kamala if she ends up taking that noose in hand for the Newsom and that new zone. Okay, so that's where the woman has the king in check, and where we can also see the money does grow on trees and the power of the food and whatever else. And then also we could see a cannabis-backed currency in the future for the healing of nations and strands and different things like that. But as far as the digital overlay, wife showed me this so-called New World Order city, and it's all these so-called boxes, box-looking houses. They're all white, they all look the same, blah blah blah. So in this digital world, okay, the new heaven and earth, the virtual reality, the glasses, all these things are going to work together and bring us into a time of rest. Okay, so that time of rest is when you get your VR world and you're walking outside and you have these glasses on and you're in a completely bare city. Everything is the same, but you have your glasses on, your VR on, and you're in your own world. Everybody has their own thing, and this is where you can live in a 10 by 10 box or whatever, right? In efficiency, an apartment. You just have to have a rolling floor, in a matter of speaking, to where you can walk in one spot, but you're actually walking all over the world and such. I've talked about these things before, but now they're actually releasing these things upon the earth because it lays it out first, and it's your option to move forward or to stay behind. Okay, and since we can do all things, since we're in the age of Aquarius, of those strange things, okay, words have been taken from you and perverted, so you can't understand that gay is happy. And when you, that's a whole nother video. Either way, as the world's going into a rest, the projection is put upon the earth as far as fires or the fog with so-called parasites in it or whatever else. This can be playing a role where it actually does cleanse the earth in a way, in one spec, and in the as far as the world projection, and then it's also there to be a visible sign for the world projection to take them into the cell as well. So you gotta have, this is where like the placebo, that placebo effect comes along, or maybe the 1 or 2 you might can make it through, but the 3 or 4, 5, 6 or whatever, you might not, on the old armies that gathered here with that video and that Corona crowning. That video and that David, that's all going together for that opera series. And Oprah always does those race baiting shows and divide shows and poor me, the grievous sin shows and all these other things, okay? They forget that there was white slaves and Indian slaves and all colors of slaves. And they also forget you don't pay for $1,000 for some person supposedly and go home and beat the shit out of them, okay? You need them working. So just a bunch of garbage given to us by Mississippi Burning and whatever other shows, and the cowboy hat, all that, that's all Hollywood. The image has been given life. And where do they wear the hats and the boots and all the cowboy shit from Hollywood at? Texas, the Lone Star State. The Elon Star State. So, then you got the Bible Belt there. So it's perfect little setup, because you got Elon, so-called dark MAGA Antichrist son that's on the world stage to the church, and he's being planted right there on the bottom side. So it's good stuff. And then those people are going to rush down there, maybe not knowing that's probably one of the harshest environments in Texas, according to their local history museums. So good luck. Anyways, the border war, all these things I've been talking about, it's for these times when Trump is in power position, during the second coming, okay? The clock and all these things, all of the matrix, whatever you want to call it, all these things are being learned since the 2020, and I'm going back and forth, whatever, for hours a day, figuring all this shit out, and keeping it all together at the same time, having a wife, 4 kids, job, whatever, right? So there's many things I have given up in my personal life, in my family's personal life, to share this information, to figure what I've been given and all these other things. But it's all a result from me asking ever since I was a boy, a teenager. And I remember crying the night my mom told me in the van, driving down Irving Boulevard. Pretty sure it was the van, but either way, I'm gonna burn in hell. All this where he's hanging the son over the fire, and then he pulls him back. Well, I'm not gonna stab you. I'm not gonna burn you. If you believe and ask and come to the church and give your 10% and all this other stuff. Anyways, that night, crying like a baby. What's wrong? I don't want to burn. I don't want to go to hell. I was exposed to things as child and teenager and adult that the so-called church would say is the dark side or demons or whatever, garbage or whatever, when it's clean and unclean spirit. There's no demon in the Bible. There's no rapture in the Bible. Okay, that's the 7th world of Buddha, of the bud. That you're never going to partake in because you have a cult leader telling you that is so wicked. I have a Bible with a 2-edged sword. It says you can use every plant, but not that one. Well, that's the tree of life that gives you knowledge. It says, I don't need to be going here. Jesus says that I'm the church. I'm the temple. Nowhere does Jesus say for me to read the Bible. Nowhere does Jesus say I need to hate people like Romans 1 reprobate doctrine says. Nowhere does Jesus and the prophets teach this or this or this or this. He says don't ask. But we're going into a new future. We're going into the new heaven and earth, which is the old heaven and earth. But it's been kind of, The right's the left, the left's the right. You're in the mirror looking at yourself. You don't realize it. That's not really you, but it is you. And you're going to have to pull out that thing that's in that introvert, per se, is going to have to become the extrovert. The extrovert has to become the introvert. And we live in a world now where they want you to be, that's why they took away cannabis and brought you alcohol, because it makes you, the cannabis makes you okay being in the cell. That's where the healing of nation comes through this plant in one aspect, but it's also used as a divide and a bell worship and those things where they can take you down here and give you the alcohol, and that's how they keep this system moving in, or whatever, that kind of thing. But as they say, cannabis makes you dumb, but your brain turns to fat and whatever else if you drink too much alcohol. So it's all being given to you flip-sided or lopsided or whatever. So man, there's just so much, dude. The VR world, the Mars, the red planet, all these things that's coming is going to be putting these people into their so-called Great Tribulation or Tribulation time frame. And the new heaven and earth is given to you through a window. And this window is given to you through your phone, your TV, your VR goggles, and all these other things, okay? The test on man, the sunglasses, is not good for you because your body thinks it's dark and you can't produce what it's needed to do whatever, okay? Not to get into that science, but this is where it's a test on man, or you have like glassware that protects you from when you're carpentry, those kinds of things, okay? So this is also where Joseph, the carpenter, has glasses, and that Joseph spirit is who's bringing Jesus into the manger or whatever. You got to know those types of things. So the carpenter glasses, those are coming on, but those are clear. Those are not tinted. So the sunglasses, those are given to you as a test, and then the real glasses are there. It's just like the jobs for women or whatever, that's been taken out of proportion because they have a job, but that's why they all hate their lives, because they got to go listen to this man over here when this man over here really needs them, and the family needs them, and all this other stuff. They go do it for this other family out here that don't give a shit about them, called work and all this other stuff, and everything's lopsided. But that's actually meant for the people who can't, the women who can't have kids, or who are shunned by society because they can't have kids, or their husband dies, or whatever kind of thing, where they do have to become the provider and those types of things. And that's where the church, the man, comes in and provides for these people, the so-called widow and the children and things that's needed in this world that's being blown out of proportion, and they're taking your 10% and whatever. That's where charity and whatever would be like a real church. Like the only real church you have at church would be like the singing part, but they do it in all that grievous shit. Well, I'm a wretch like me. Jesus never said you were a wretch. You're not a wretch. You're made perfect. You're not. It's imperfect or I'm perfect. It's both the same thing. And what's the name of God? I am. Okay? So, very simple. Jesus is in you. I am. Jesus, he's us. He's that light. He's taking me from this world to the next world. Through the light. God is light. You got a light in your hand. Heaven's at hand. You got a light. It's all going together. Okay, we run on light. You have a light inside of you. You are an electric being connected with metals and oxygen that has paramagnetic and comes together. A liquid metal robot with a computer brain inside of you. We're going to that computer brain and we're going to go turn it on. You're going to be able to use all of it in the future. Okay? So, they got you on a line, on a linear path. Your brain can only go one. Okay? It's going to explode in the future. And that's what's going to be breaking open on the projection for these people as Hollywood comes down. And you got the Israel coming, and it's just going to pop the brain. What the fuck is going on? This guy's Antichrist. This guy's the devil. This guy's so wicked. Evil. You know what you can say to him? Suck it.